How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Full-Time Reaction. Yeah, it had to be me today that does it. You know, on a day where I thought we'd go through, pass the test with flying colours as we've done against lower league opposition earlier on this season, Wimbledon, Sunderland, West Brom. We failed to get the job done in the FA Cup again. Second year in a row, getting knocked out of the first round that we could be in. I know it's not the first FA Cup round, but the first round we could be in. Not good enough in my opinion. You look at the performance, not good enough. No shots on target, embarrassing. And a couple of the players that have been at Arsenal a couple of years longer than really they should have, letting us down again. And you know, today doesn't fall to any one particular player, but Rob Holding consistently giving the ball away throughout the game. Eddie Nketiah fluffing his lines with the few chances that we created. That header, for example, no shots on target when you got a header in the 6-yard box, perfectly placed for you to at least get it on target. There's no excuse, no excuse. We're going to go through some clips, continue bringing in your clips. Obviously, the phone number is on the screen there, as you can see. It's 07853 246 654. I'm going to be joined by Dan Potts, Robbie, LV General will be in as well throughout this next 45 minutes to an hour. And yeah, continue getting your thoughts and comments across. Let me see what the people are saying. Stop making excuses, Turkish. It wasn't a handball. Are you listening to what I'm saying or what? I don't understand. Some people, it's like they watch the screen with the mute button on. I haven't made one excuse. I haven't even talked about a handball. So what are you talking about, mate? Time to buy, says Trash Panda. And I think it was always time to buy come January. It's light in midfield, light in attack. And again, both areas of that pitch highlighted today in the performance. I think we failed to gain control in the middle of the park. Slightly down to Arteta there with leaving it all to Lokonga. I think a double pivot would have made more sense. But I look at half time as the chance to bring that in. And the second half just started as slow as the first half did. In the second half, we just didn't have that moment where the game kind of changed in our favour and we started controlling it a bit more. In all honesty, Nottingham Forest deserve to go through on that 90-minute performance. Not even close. Like I said, no shot on target. It's crazy. Another embarrassing performance. How many more? Well, they've been few and far between this season, but over the years, you know, we have become quite accustomed to this feeling of deflation, being let down, expecting something and getting the opposite. So I understand completely how you're feeling. Anime said, this cup is our Champions League. How can we lose? It's not the Champions League, but I get what you're saying. For Arsenal Football Club, the FA Cup is massive. For me as a football fan, Arsenal fan, the FA Cup has always been massive. I know I've mentioned it before, the glamour's gone over the years, or the glamour's dwindled over the years, but for me, I'll always value the FA Cup, and that's why it hurts. It hurt last season against Southampton, it hurts this season against Nottingham Forest, probably more so this season. Last season when we got knocked out the FA Cup, we still had the Europa League there. I know the league looked far off in terms of competing for top 4, but we still had other competitions, or another competition we was in that we probably had more of an eye on than the FA Cup. This year, however, I don't see how we could take our eye off the ball in a sense where, yes, top 4 has become a possibility, maybe it's become a priority, but when you're not in Europe, and look, sitting here now, we have 20 games left in the season, 18 in the Premier League, 2 semi-finals, with potentially one more being the final. I think we was in prime position to compete on all fronts. And it's funny I say that because usually when we talk about competing on all fronts, you're in Europe, you're competing for a league title or a top 4 position, FA Cup, League Cup. This time, what are we really in? We've got a semi-final double-header against Liverpool sorted in the bag. We are in top 4 at the moment with a massive game against Tottenham coming up. Cool, we'll see how that one goes. The FA Cup game against Forest, what a way to start the next 7 days. What a way to start the next 7 days. I hope it can only go up from here. Liverpool on Thursday. Let's get the job done at Anfield. Big ask, but we're going to need a much improved performance than we saw today. Let me see what's going on. Alberto says, why we keep playing players that have let us down time and time again? We loan out people like Saliba and keep Holding, shake my head. Alberto, if I speak, yeah, it's mad, because in the summer I did question not even in the summer, in January last year, I questioned why Rob Holding got a new contract. In the summer, I questioned why Saliba's on the way out again, and Holding not only retains his place but becomes part of the leadership group again and captained us today. It is crazy, people. But we have got some clips ready. I'm going to be joined by Dan Potts after these clips do play. Continue getting your reactions in, people. Continue giving your thoughts in the live chat section. We'll obviously go through as much of them as possible. And yeah, let's see.
This is absolutely shocking. Shocking, shocking, shocking. I can't even open my face.
Hi, this is Nana from Ontario, Canada. Are we still trusting the process?
So the game is still going on right now, but yeah, this game was a terrible game for the team. We were not prepared. We completely undermined what Nottingham Forest was going to bring to the pitch. There was no confidence on the pitch from anybody. It was very sloppy from pretty much every player. No credible passes, no drive, no intention of actually scoring the goal or anything on target. It was a very, very poor performance, and something that we've seen in the past and we shouldn't even be seeing anymore now with this new team full of youngsters. We needed confidence on the pitch from our veteran players, but again, Partey, El Nene going off to AFCON, not having Lacazette starting out in the starting 11, and Aubameyang not even being here really anymore, really puts us in severe stress. We need strikers and we need confidence on the pitch.
So, 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. James here from One Way Football, all the way in Gran Canaria.
Not sure what happened there. Apologies for that one there. A bit of a problem with the video. You see, my man at the first video couldn't even show his face. Dan, we meet again, man. It feels like News Daily last year where we sat together like this and we tended to have a moan. But at the beginning of the watch along, I did say, things seem to have been changing. Not changed, because it's hard to be definitive about that. Things seem to be changing. We're in a good place. We're in top 4, FA Cup against Forest and a semi-final against Liverpool. How you feeling now? We've only got 2 of those left.
Well, a lot of people were asking me about my stance on Mikel Arteta and the process, and I said not long ago, well, I said this week to be fair, that I've been really impressed the last few games. I like the style of play that I'm now finally starting to see. I like the final third improvements. I love the young guns. I love what I'm seeing from beating teams convincingly like Leeds and Norwich, where before we were scraping past 1-0 towards the first part of the season. I love the fact that we can compete with teams that were in and around us like West Ham. We can beat them at home. And I love the fact that we put in a performance against Manchester City. And then people said, well, you must trust the process then. And I said, hang fire. I said I wanted him to prove me wrong against Everton, Manchester United and Liverpool and take 4 points. We got zilch, right? And now I've asked, do you know what would really, really make me buy into this process? Keep into both these cups domestically, get to a Carabao Cup final, and beat Spurs in a North London derby. And look at how we've started today. Now, that performance reminded me of the Brentford one at the first start of the season. And against Man City and Chelsea with the similar sides, I think Eddie Nketiah has found his level, mate, and it ain't Championship, it's League One. Do you know what I mean? Because League One opponent Sunderland, he was fine, but he could not take that step forward to Nottingham Forest. Robbie was saying earlier how he wants to play first team football in the Premier League. What Premier League team would take Eddie Nketiah in their first team as their first striker? I can't name one. So I look at that and I think, even Norwich wouldn't take him with Pookie, Brentford wouldn't with Tony, Watford wouldn't with Emmanuel Dennis.
Norwich wouldn't with, Newcastle wouldn't with Wilson. And
it goes on. So I think that's where we're looking at. Rob Holding, 5 years as an Arsenal player, maybe 6 years, never been good enough, still playing for us. We're bringing Kolasinac on, bruv. Why? Why is he still here? What's going on there?
When we need a goal.
It's a madness, mate. So this first 11 has a chance of a top 4 because the door's ajar. But the squad has no chance of top 4. It ain't good enough, bruv. So if that first 11 stays fit, we have a slight chance. And I don't think that first 11 is going to stay fit for the rest of the season. So we're going to see some of these players coming in. Cedric, what do Atletico Madrid want him for? Never rated him. Awful today, yeah? Eddie and Nketiah, awful. I thought that Martin Odegaard showed signs of his old Martin Odegaard self today. He couldn't get onto the ball. There was no... We were looking for somebody in that midfield to say, look, I'm on it. Just give it to me. I'll play the game. I'll dictate. Couldn't see that today. Shocking performance, man.
Who do you think we missed most in the starting lineup?
Do you know what I thought we missed more until he came on? Lacazette. And he came on and nothing really changed.
Yeah.
So I really felt we missed Lacazette. I think definitely a midfielder. I love Charlie Patino's performance in parts because he got stuck in and he weren't afraid.
Yeah.
But, you know, to put them two together, we are so thin. Letting Maitland-Niles go was a mistake, in my opinion, in this stage of the window. Let him go to Roma. Why are we trying to make Mourinho happy? Let's just let him go towards the end of the season and play him in the busiest fixture of the festive period. We've got all these cup competitions. We've got no Europe, but we're now letting people go. Why? So for me, a midfielder, Thomas Partey would have been great in there, I think. But even a Granit Xhaka or an El Neni, I think, would have given us a little bit more stability because we looked a little bit shaky in that midfield area and we were getting bossed in my opinion.
More than shaky, I'd say. We've got a few comments here. AL James says, Turkish. We could have played 900 minutes today and not scored a goal. The amount of misplaced passes was awful, but it was the desire and movement all over the pitch that let us down. I completely agree with that, especially the last bit, desire and movement. Things that you expect, the bare minimum. Gary, big up Turkish. We are moving in the right direction, but just need these rumoured moves to be done soon. We need a field general. It's obvious, and he is not here yet. Someone else said, lacking veteranship as well. Matt here says, I think you mean jump. Don't jump down my throat, but I think the white kit had an effect on the players. It didn't help the form. No, don't get me wrong. On the stream when I mentioned, don't cross the line in terms of, making the performance about the shirt and the kit, because the campaign and what the shirt is for is a very, very good campaign that's needed in London especially. I know there's knife crime all over the world and, some more predominant than others, but in London it's a big, big problem. Now, what Arsenal have done now is everyone was amazed by the shirt, everyone wanted it. Now that shirt has been used in a match that we lost and got knocked out to Nottingham Forest. So I don't know what that shirt will be worth, not financially, but in terms of a memorabilia type of thing. They've probably ruined it. But
yeah, no, great shot.
But we'll see. Bad day at the office. That's it, says Big Steve. Steve, I'm dreading Big Six on Monday, man. I can't lie to you. A couple hours ago, I thought Tobes was going to get it because Tottenham were losing 1-0. Here I am now. Here I am now, just entering the battlefield once again.
I'll have a voice note from Tobes, there's no doubt about it. Trust
100%.
me, I will.
I've turned my notifications off for now, man. As I do. Listen, my notifications are off more often than not. It's not just because we've lost, but I just can't bother to hear it from people today. It is what it is. Well, we have no midfielders. What is Edu and Arteta doing? Hurry up. Usman says, versus Leeds, he balled because it was so open against a B team. Against a low block, it's always poor. Odegaard is the only player with good vision, and midfielder is needed most. Again, that's the big question, midfielder or striker. But in all honesty, if we buy a midfielder, not a striker, in February we'll probably be saying we need a striker. If we buy a striker and not a midfielder, in February we'll probably say, where's that midfielder? We need both.
That's
equally.
why we need both. That's why we need both, and that's why I think we have to get both, mate. I can't understand why one would be a priority over the other when we've got an Aubameyang situation. Eddie won 6 months, Laka on 6 months, Balogun looks like he's going to be loaned to Middlesbrough, so we definitely need a centre forward. And in the defensive midfield position at the moment, I don't even know that we have one defensive midfielder that I look at and go, wow, because Thomas Partey is more of a box-to-box. Obviously, Granit Xhaka and El Neni don't really have a long-term future at Arsenal. Maitland-Niles is now off, and Lokonga's a young kid. So for me, they're two positions that it's clear and obvious we need to improve.
Yeah, and when you're going lower league opposition, I guess they'll be licking their lips when they see a centre midfield consisting of Lokonga, Patino, and the level of experience and age in that lower league teams thrive against. Hence the whole, make sure they know we're here and the physical battle that they brought in. Go on, what are you going to?
No, I was just going to say, you look at Bruno Gomares and Vlahovic, the links with them two, and you think, wow, they'd be two amazing signings. They look at that result today and think, nah, I'm more anxious. I'm not so sure about that.
Hopefully you didn't watch the game.
Well, yeah, it ain't going to do us any favours, that result, I'll tell you that now.
We forget the performance as well as the result. It's not like we deserved anything out of the performance.
No, we didn't.
Result just
shambles.
Just came back because of the performance. Let's get into some more clips, people, and see what you guys have been saying. Continue getting your clips in. We've got another 45 to go anyway, so love for the love, people.
My name is Jason, I'm from Joburg. I've just watched the game. I can't believe it. Kolasinac in the 90th minute. Mikel, what's that gonna do for us? Mikel, ask yourself the question. Kolasinac, once the game's already done, what is it gonna do? Trust the process. You trust this.
Hello AFTV. So this is the worst game that I ever seen in my entire life about the Arsenal. So this is what happened when you just rely on the young player, you know, only on the young player. And I have no idea why Arteta is, you know, playing on this way. Like he's bringing Kolasinac in the 89th minute. What's the logic behind it? This is a disaster. Arteta should open his eyes. Goodness.
William from DC, United States. Man, listen. Came back from church, trying to watch some Arsenal, and I'm completely disappointed. Rob Holding, trash. Cedric, trash. Half this squad is trash. And Ketia got to get out of here. He's trash. I don't know what else to say. It's lost.
What's up, AFTV? Boston Jules here. What the hell did I just sit through? 90 minutes of that shite? What the hell are you thinking, Arteta? Throwing in Charlie Patino. How old is this kid? He's 17 years old. I mean, my goodness. You know, let's not dig him out, because you've seen how hard it is for these youth players to break into the starting lineup. Now, we need a center midfield signing in the January transfer window. There are no excuses. I don't want Dusan Vlahovic. Why the hell are we going to go spend this kind of money? He doesn't want to be here. It's a waste of time. Apparently, we've submitted a bid. Why? I don't know. We need a center midfielder, okay? We need Bruno Guimaraes. We need this kind of profile player. We need someone, because you saw today, we are Xhaka. We are one injury away from starting Sambi Lokonga and Charlie Patino at center defensive midfield. What the hell is this crap? This is a make or break time in this season. We need some effective business to be done in the January transfer market, okay? FA Cup, it's done. Let's move on. We cut our losses. Terrible performance. Really didn't live up to the badge today, unfortunately, for those players, okay? Now, we'll see where we go from here. Very disappointing, but we move on, and let's see if the players can make a big push into get that fourth spot. Disappointing. Big up Matt Nodegaard, though, trying to get shit done all day, all game today. You know, some of the players put in effort, but, you know, our B team, it's a bit lacking at the moment, but we'll see with some investment. We need Arteta to make better tactical decisions than today. All right, see you, FTV.
A lot of good reactions there. A common theme, really, and that's deflation. The first couple did mention Kolasinac coming on. Before we get into a couple of moments regarding Mikel Arteta, how much do you put on Mikel Arteta today? How much do you put on the players today? Because in my interview with Robbie, I did say, you know, it's hard to put a lot on Arteta today because the players just didn't apply themselves. Mm-hmm. That's not to say Arteta, you know, escapes, you know, free. But I do think a lot of the players out there, the bare minimum I expect is apply yourself, try, work, talk. And we didn't see that. So what is it for you? Is it a majority Arteta today or the players?
It's interesting, Turkish, because a lot of the times when we lose, the players aren't good enough. A lot of the time we win, Arteta's trust the process. He's the guy.
Yeah,
today, I'm not going to put too much blame on either of them, one on either side. I'm going to put 50-50 split because I don't think that those players were up for it. So what do you do at half-time as a manager? You big them up. They come out and played worse.
Yeah.
He brought on Kolasinac at the 89th minute, which someone's brought on, which no one understands. He's made substitutions, in my opinion, too late, because Eddie, you could see it wasn't working. He needed to try and bring Lacazette on and change the style and structure behind Lacazette, because it wasn't going to change at all. So for me, playing Patino more as a kind of 8 forward wasn't working. Needed to try and do a double pivot of some kind. I don't feel personally that he had any answers today from Nottingham Forest, who, let's be honest, just give it their all and were physical and deserved the win 100%. I think we've probably gone away from giving them credit today because we're so frustrated. But I think Forest do deserve a lot of credit.
They do.
But if I was to say who deserves the blame, I'd say the players and the manager, because the players weren't up for it and the manager couldn't get them up for it.
50-50.
Simple.
We're going to talk about the moments, including Kolasinac. Then we get a couple of the super chats in. Izat says Tottenham is now a must-win game. Hopefully we can focus more on the league. Forget the EFL Cup. Let's focus on securing top 4. And Dia Jean says we have Oba, Maitland-Niles, Saliba, Guendouzi. Why do we create our own problems? They are players that are meant to be on our books. On the Tottenham game and Liverpool game coming up, Which one do you prioritise? Is it every game as they come, or do you look at the Tottenham game now and protect a few players? How are you looking at the rest of this week now? Liverpool priority or one eye on Tottenham?
They're both priorities. It sounds crazy, doesn't it? But they are now. I feel like if we would have gone out to Liverpool over 2 legs, then we could have turned to it and said, you know what? At least we beat Forest and we're in the FA Cup still because Liverpool are a good side.
Yeah.
We can't do that now. It could be season near to be over. If honestly, Turkish, now we're at the FA Cup. If we don't go through to the Carabao Cup final when we lose to Spurs, we could be out of the top 4 in both competitions in 2 weeks. And this is why I said to fans, don't go too mad. Yeah. And people will come back and say, calm down, we've still got the Liverpool games and we've still got Spurs. Yeah, but what happens if we don't win these with a team that we've just seen is not good enough?
Yeah.
So for me, we have to play our best team in these 3 games now. We have to rotate out Burnley, the one after it. We have to just go for it because we can't afford to keep switching Cedric's in and Holdings in because they ain't going to get us through. We need to win these next 3 games convincingly for me. So I don't really understand why we're saying prioritise one or the other. We've got to prioritise both now. This was the one that we could have tried to get through with a weaker side. The weaker side isn't good enough.
Yeah.
So we have to go back to the first side now.
Yeah. Yeah, we hope that without Thomas Partey and depending on, who was it, Xhaka and Tomiyasu's cold? No, it wasn't Tomiyasu. Xhaka had COVID.
Smith Rowe out with
tight groin.
With tight groin. There was 2, Balogun and Xhaka with...
Yeah, let's see what they're saying later on this week. K Arman TV says Arsenal should thank Liverpool and Klopp for postponing the game. Imagine this game playing tactics against Liverpool. Another 4-0 incoming. Now Arteta can read. To be honest, that's assuming that would go in the same way against Liverpool. I don't think we would have. And I think the players would actually be more up for the fight against Liverpool. I think the players let themselves down a lot today. I just think they coasted through it. It looked like they thought, it's lower league opposition. We'll get the job done. But this time now, we faced a side that were more up for the challenge. West Brom, Wimbledon, Sunderland, they were not up for the challenge. But Nottingham Forest were. Arsenal celebrated losing to a City team who had no rest, like Jesus had been... Oh, man said Jesus, like Jesus had been resurrected. When I see that in football chats now, I think the first thing is Jesus.
Yeah, same.
Spurs beat them every season. Your fan base is so deluded. I don't know, Ma. I think with the City one, especially as an Arsenal fan, there was definitely positives to take from that. And me and Dan are 2 of the most critical thinking Arsenal fans there is. And I think we agree that there was some positives in that game. Nothing to celebrate.
I didn't celebrate.
Nothing to celebrate. But, to distinguish that performance in comparison to other performances against similar teams over the years, you can pick out the positives. But at the same time, a lot of fans did run away with it, thinking, it can only get better from here with Nottingham Forest, Liverpool semis, Tottenham and whatnot. But like you said, in the next week to 10 days, the outlook of the season could look very, very different.
Massive few weeks, mate.
Massive few weeks. Let me see what the chat's saying. Arteta got his team wrong and Holding is no captain. Chambers is finished with Arsenal, can't even get into the midfield. There is a lot of funny decisions there. I mean, on the Kolasinac one, you've got Amari Hutchinson, Salah Ad-Din. Yes, young players, untested, and I've been critical about putting pressure on young players, but bringing Kolasinac off the bench when you're 1-0 down, what was the thinking behind that?
I'd love to know, because if you're bringing him on as a left back, who, let's be honest, cannot play football, he is total trash. He's probably the worst left back that we've had since Andre Santos, if not worse.
Yeah.
And you're bringing him on to do what exactly? Is he trying to score? No. Is he trying to defend? Well, he can't. Yeah. Is he trying to assist? He can't. He can't cross a ball. He can't pass a ball. We saw that against Son a couple of years ago at White Hart Lane. He is a trash footballer, and we're bringing him on to give him minutes? What are we bringing him on for? No. I'd love Mikel Arteta to explain that one. I don't get that at all. If you're bringing on somebody with a couple of minutes to go to give him some legs, I'd understand it. We had 5 subs today, apparently, to use. We didn't use hardly any of them. We had Hutchinson, who's apparently been killing it under 23s. Let's see him instead of Kolasinac, shall we? Or this Salah kid.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he's bringing this guy on. I've no understanding of it, mate. It's
someone
madness.
Who might have everything to prove coming on as a young player, putting on the Arsenal shirt and a massive FA Cup tie, anti-knife campaign, special white.
Yep.
But no, it's Kolasinac, just the same old
madness decision, bro.
Nonsense. What about before we get into some more clips, Tavares, early on, half an hour in, sub for Tierney. At the time, me and you on the stream did say it's quite harsh. If he's setting the precedent now, moving forward, this is what he does, then in hindsight, we look back at this as a big moment, as a change, non-negotiables, cool. But even in that game, Rob Holding eventually gave the ball away more time than Tavares. Put us in sticky moments. Eddie and Nketiah up top, fluffed lines, but they played the 90 minutes. The Tavares, harsh, number one. And again, what did you make of it? Do you think it was just a case of Arteta being frustrated with him? They was on the same side, maybe he just wasn't listening. Was it a big moment? Was it just a moment we just look past and hope Tavares bounces back?
I think it's a moment we look past now because of the result today. But actually, when you look at what he's done there, your first question, is it harsh? Yes, it is harsh, but only because of what he's not done in the past. And that's the only reason it's harsh.
Yeah.
It's not harsh if he's the first manager, first game in charge, because then you think, wow, this guy ain't missing about. He's ruthless. But when you look at how many games Aubameyang plays poorly and stays on the pitch, how many games has Granit Xhaka cost us, stayed on the pitch, how many games has Rob Holding been playing now for 4 years, been terrible, and under Mikel, obviously, his 2 years that he's been here, terrible, stays on the pitch. So if he now sets the precedent of nobody else is going to be putting a performance like that or they get subbed, then that is a fair decision. But from what we've seen with this guy, it's been so inconsistent with players like the Guendouzi's of this world that get chucked out, the Aubameyangs that get chucked out, the Pepes that get dropped for a bad performance and never come on for 4 or 5 games. Maitland-Niles' last game, by the way, for Arsenal was a Watford man of the match performance. I haven't seen him again. He's now gone to Roma. So there's very, very strange decisions happening from this manager, and it goes back to stuff like bringing on Kolasinac that you think he's lost the plot again. What's happening here? So for Tavares, it'll be interesting to see what Nuno's attitude is like now, because Kieran Tierney obviously was in a position a few weeks ago only where he was injured and couldn't get in the side. He waited and bided his time. He didn't moan, he was professional. He got back in and he's like, I'm never getting out of this team unless I get injured again. Nuno Tavares has come in, and at the moment, does he play now against Liverpool or Spurs? We don't know. That's because of the way it's going to be.
I'd play Tavares against Liverpool and Tierney against Spurs. What would you do?
100% agree, mate. I think that we do need to go strong, but I feel like Nuno Tavares is definitely an option for us. I think that it was very harsh. However, I don't know what he was doing.
Someone here said Tavares was not harsh, he was dreadful. That's not my point. He was dreadful, but so was Holding and so was Eddie and Nketiah. My point is, like Dan's, if you set the precedent, make sure you continue with that precedent across the board. I remember there was a time when Pepe got a red card. The post-match interview of Arteta was very critical, open, but then when Xhaka got the red card,
100%.
it was different, and that's kind of what we're saying here now. You set a precedent now, make sure you move forward with the same, chest that you made the decision with today. Hey Turkish, much love to all at AFTV. Stay positive. There's no shame in losing to a team with 2 stars on their shirts. All right. Luke says, why is he resting players today? We are only in 3 competitions. Laka should be starting. Arteta out. What do you think of that? Do you think we should have gone stronger today? But at the beginning of the game, we was quite happy with the lineup.
Hindsight, mate. Hindsight, isn't it? Because I think that Eddie and Nketiah, after coming off the back of scoring goals in the competition of the League Cup and then getting a start here, I think the front 3 behind him were the strongest that there has been of the last few games. I don't think he had any other option in midfield, and certainly the only options he could have done or changed would be Kieran Tierney to start instead of Tavares, and obviously Pablo Mari to start instead of Rob Holding. I don't think there's anything else that he could have done. Lacazette instead of Eddie, and that's it. All the rest of it I thought was pretty strong, so or as strong as it could be. I don't really see that there was much more that Mikel Arteta could do in terms of a team selection due to injuries and COVID and the AFCON.
Yeah, and someone said Maitland-Niles played at right back for Roma. What a joke.
Apparently they're beating Juve as well.
Oh, is it? So that's the game you must be talking about. Let's get into some more clips from you guys. The number is still there, so make sure you continue getting your clips in, people.
Hey, AFTV, Chris from Brussels in London here. Just about to react to the game today. And yes, I really think the players literally didn't give anything today. And we have to stop bashing on Arteta because it's not his fault. I think the basic tactical setup was pretty sound, I think, and defensively we didn't concede too much, but obviously we didn't create anything, and that has to come to the players as well. They have to go in, they have to show some commitment and some fight, because today I didn't see much of that, and I really, really would like our fans and our family to stop bashing on Arteta constantly when it goes wrong, because it's not just him. They just got like young players as well. It's a young team, so I think we have to give them time, but today was shambolic. It was not good.
Hey guys, Qasim here from Pakistan. What was that, man? That was one of the worst performers. I just wanted to, big up AFD. Just wanted to say one thing. was hearing on the stream, oh, it's not Arteta's fault, it's the team's fault, the individual errors, but nah, man, that's Arteta's fault, totally Arteta's fault. I mean, you have your Partey, Xhaka out, then you have Elneny out, you don't have Smith Rowe, so then why would you put in a Patino who had a very poor performance? I mean, change the formation. This is what managers are for. You play according to the team you have. You can't play same like with Partey and Xhaka with Patino and Sambi. Come on, man. Anyone could see that. Play a back five. Why take Tavares off? I mean, everyone was making a mistake. Play Cedric and Tavares as wing back and play a 3 at the back just to support the midfield. You're short at the midfield. And you know what? I just cannot understand. I cannot understand why Maitland-Niles has been allowed to go. I mean, like, he has to play, he has to go, but send him out on 31st of January, like 1 hour before the deadline. Why now when you know the half of your midfield has gone to AFCON? I mean, I blame it on the management, top management, Arteta and everything. I don't blame it on players. I don't expect Patino and Lokonga and Nketiah and these guys to go and, win easily. Shocking, absolutely shocking.
On AFTV, Jay from Australia. First of all, congratulations for the anti-knife campaign. I hope the white that symbolizes no blood means something. I hope we eradicate crime forever. And yeah, going on with the performance, it was so bad, it was so poor. We lacked tenacity, we lacked composure, we were so non-existent. We made Nottingham Forest look like the Premier League team. We look like the Championships team. Our second squad is so bad. Our backups are poor. Everything was so poor. Nketiah was worse. Holding was worse. They don't deserve to be in this team. We lack experience. Now we see how we miss our senior players, how we miss our other players as well. We need to sell these players, we need to get rid of them because we don't need them anymore. We need to bring proper reinforcements, for this January transfer window and for the coming transfer windows. And we must win against Spurs. We have to be really aware, really alert against Spurs and Liverpool, which is a must-win game against our North London derby. Is so important. I'm gutted that we are out of the FA Cup 2 years in a row, but we have to move on and focus on the next game. So yeah, cheers.
Well, that one hurts. Tough to take. We won on it today. We didn't deserve it today. We need a new DM. We've known that for months now. If we want top 4, we need to get busy in the market. Simple as. New DM, new striker, let's get it done.
On Mikel Arteta, Dan, obviously earlier this season more so than any other, the flip-flop term is being chucked around a lot, and like you just said, 2 weeks can change a lot, especially in a season like we're having now. Earlier this season, we both come out, we both said we don't think Arteta is good enough. Over the last 2-3 weeks, since the Everton game, we've also both come out and said, although we believe that Arteta's not good enough, he's also showing us something that maybe we can eat our words later on down the line this season. I said in my AFTV interview that now we are at the FA Cup. You give Arteta the rest of the season because he's put us in a great position in the league at the moment. And his future comes down, for me now, whether we make top 4 come end of the season. When the same me at the beginning of the season didn't think top 4 was a possibility. Do you think that's fair of me to say, or do you think that's changing goalposts? Or at the end of the day, the way I see it is I didn't think top 4 was possible. Halfway through the season, Arteta's made it possible. So I think, as much as I don't think Arteta is good enough to take us to where I want to get to as a football club, he deserves the rest of the season to get the Champions League football back. And I'm saying it like it's some form of success. Achieving top 4 is not success, and I will never see it as success. But do you think that's fair for me to say? Top 4 now determines the future.
Top 4 determines the future. If we get dumped out to Liverpool and we lose a North London derby, I want the guy gone. And the only reason I want the guy gone is because I've wanted the guy gone for 2 years. And he's tried to be, lots of fans have wanted me to change my opinion and wanted it to be the best thing since sliced bread that this guy's come in. He keeps letting me down, Turkish. He keeps letting me down. Because just when I'm starting to find the convincing, okay, we're beating teams 1-0, but now we've got the big games coming up against Liverpool, Manchester United and Everton, 0 points. Then we start to win again, don't we, against Leeds and Norwich, and it's a little bit more convincing, and we beat West Ham, and then we compete against City but lose. And I think, right, now you've got a run of games that are very, very clustered, and you've got cup competitions that you need to go through, and he's already let me down again at the first hurdle, man. The first hurdle, we've been dumped out of the FA Cup. So if we do go out of the Carabao Cup and we do lose the North London Derby and put ourselves potentially between 4 and 7 points behind Tottenham in 4th place, we're back down to 5th or 6th again, competing with West Ham for 6th or 7th. I'm not interested in that, bruv. I'm not interested to come 6th or 7th after coming 8th 2 years in a row. So for me, that isn't progress, 6th or 7th this season. If we were in all competitions and we come 6th, we can say our squad's not good enough to compete, but we spent 150 million and came out of European competition to go for top 4, or did we go try just to get back into the top 6 again? Because for me, I think it's a madness target or process if you come out of Europe, spend 150 million to get 6th place and be happy with it. No, not for me, man.
Doesn't really make sense. And a lot of people are saying, oh, well, to both of us, reactionary, but I'll ask, how can it be reactionary to say what you expect for the rest of the season and then make a decision? You're essentially saying we need to see what the rest of the season entails and then react. So how can what we're saying right now be reactionary when the reality is we've just got knocked out the main cup competition we're in, the main one we wanted this year, regardless of League Cup semi-finals. We are out of the FA Cup. I don't think it's reactionary to now, look at our targets and say, well, we've got to kind of chop and change them.
Well, neither of us have said we both want Arteta to get sacked right now, have we?
No, exactly.
You've said you'll give him to the end of the season. I've said I'll see what he does in the rest of this competition in the Carabao Cup and Spurs, and then I'll make the decision then. Because I don't see the point, personally, of going out of this competition, the Carabao Cup, and getting beaten by Spurs to think, this guy's still good enough. Come on, he'll turn it round. He always does. He hasn't turned it round. He's come 8th twice. That's not turning it round for me.
Yeah.
So I've seen enough of it, and I have done previously to it, and I've been trying my best to be positive and look at it and go, do you know what? Yeah, I'm starting to see improvement with some of these players, but I've just seen our best front three, Barredi and Nketiah, not being able to break down Nottingham Forest. So I can't get too excited, bro. Do you know what I mean?
I completely understand it, and we're at a place now, like you said, 2 weeks changes everything, but now we've been knocked out of the main cup competition that we're in. I think essentially it's plain sailing. I don't mean plain sailing, but I mean in terms of the fixtures, the schedule towards now from the end of the season, we've got a cup semi to get out the way and potentially a final. But in terms of the league, it's there for us now to focus wholeheartedly on it. And it is not, I asked you, is it fair for me to say, but I'm actually going to say it is not unfair for me to say in 4th place at the moment, with only the league really left for us to expect or ask for top 4 from this season.
I totally agree, because the first 11, I believe, are good enough to compete for top 4. When we start talking about a squad, no, we're not good enough for top 4. So there's a chance that we might not get it because of the squad. But I believe personally that for Arteta, because who's already should be under pressure from the first 3 games of the season in the last 2 years, I think, personally, should be under pressure, especially when he's been backed with all those players that, let's be honest, everyone's loving, including myself. We're loving Ramsdale, Tomiyasu, Kieran Tierney, Ben White, Gabriel. We're loving Thomas Partey's performance against Man City. We love the fact these young guns are playing behind Lacazette, who's linking them up well. That team is good enough to compete with the top 4. Now, I think personally, looking at what Manchester United are doing, which is all over the place, West Ham, who are falling short because their squad's too thin, and Tottenham, who, let's be honest, are just scraping through results at the moment, we should be able to get a top 4. 100% we should. Yeah. If this was Chelsea, Liverpool and Man City standard, I'd understand it. I'd say, look, top 4 is not going to happen, then we're not good enough. But actually, when you look at the teams we're competing with, is it that unrealistic? I don't think they're that great.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's not like there's one standout there that we're looking at as, oh, maybe they need to drop off before we have a chance. We are actually there at the moment with no standouts at the moment, including us. Jay says, I can't blame Arteta. I think it's clear Arsenal doesn't have a squad to play Premier League and Cups at the same time. I don't blame Arteta. But Jay, without Europe and 150 million spent and a couple of pieces of business that, in my opinion, we should have done to make this overhaul quicker, like Maitland-Niles to Wolves in 2020. I think we could have got 20 million for him there. I think Eddie Nketiah to Brighton, was it, this summer, and West Ham in January, and another team the year before that, I think it was Palace. We could have got 20 mil, 15 mil, but we didn't. Lacazette, this summer just gone. We could have done things where the income helps sort out the squad. But instead, obviously, the 150 million in isolation, it looks good and it is good. It's a good outlay. But there's still things that we should have done, could have done, that we didn't. And days like today, where you see Holding let us down, Eddie let us down, players that have let us down so many times before, what do you expect?
And this is why I've had doubts about this process, mate. This is why I've had doubts about this process, because we're supposed to be a new regime that learns from its old mistakes.
Yeah.
Yet we're letting 6-month contracts run down. We're letting Willian and David Luiz come through the door within this regime.
Yeah.
What's different? There's nothing different there. So although the signings have been a lot better, I really like what they've done off the pitch. I think it's been really good at Arteta and Edu with the signings that have come through the door. But that's why I think they should be competing for top 4, because I've been really happy with it. If you don't think that we can compete for top 4, you can't be that happy with Arteta and Edu, because they haven't done their job to get us the signings to get us to that level.
Yeah.
So it's got to work one way or the other for me.
Yeah, and at Arsenal, it's such a deep-rooted mess that the blame, if you're going to put the blame at one man, it's Kroenke. But in terms of when you delve into things, obviously Arteta's to blame for some things, the players are to blame for some things, Edu, Vinay, there's blame to be passed around 100%. So it's very difficult.
When you look at Kroenke in the last couple of years, what he's done is given us that money in the last couple of windows, If he does it again this window, I'm not blaming Kroenke. I'm blaming the guys on the pitch, because if we do bring in Vlahovic and Bruno Gomes, like the rumours are suggesting, then he's backed us again in January. He's given Arteta another £100 million. So we can't sit there and start blaming Kroenke just for that.
Look at this.
Go on, bro.
Dan from Talk Forest TV, obviously I'd done a box-to-box with him before the game. He said, some game that, pal. I'll be up for a fan cam if you need a Forest perspective. Dan, I don't want to talk to no Forest fans, I'll be honest. But well done, man. You lot got the job done. Albeit with your eye really much on playoffs and the league. You brought your top scorer on and he scored the goal. We brought our striker on because he works hard. Mad. Usman says, it's fair. United squad is way better, but no one predicted them being this shambolic. If man doesn't change his opinion with new information, he's just stubborn, no? Yeah, I think so. For second team players, none showed fight at all. And that's the difference from the Sunderland game. The Sunderland game, I wasn't worried. Similar to this one, I thought, you pick an 11, they get the job done. The Sunderland game, Pepe had moments, he shone. Eddie Nketiah had moments. A few players, Patino, come on. This game today, we struggled to, when we was on the stream talking about who's our man of the match or who is Arsenal's best player, the only one that gets any credit is Leno, because he kept us in the game until that last 5-minute goal or whatever. Who else comes out of that with any credit whatsoever? Because Tierney even came on, and Tierney, I'm not saying made a mistake or caught, but he didn't really change anything. It didn't really add anything.
And that was the more worrying thing, I think, was the first team players with these second team players couldn't play as a team with them. And that was the thing for me. There was nobody outfield that shone. Leno made a great save from a free kick and a really good save. I think it was in the first and second half, to be fair. Couldn't do much about the goal. If I'm honest, that was defensive issues and problems in midfield with Lokonga. But I do feel like there's a worrying sign when not any of your outfield players shine. That is a real worry for me.
Yeah. El Jazz says, Turkish, you are absolutely right, but with this actual team, I can't see top 4 at all. Well, that's what I said at the beginning of the season, bro. I said, with this squad, with the 150 million spent, I didn't think top 4 was a possibility unless one of the City, Liverpool, Chelsea, United fall off. And we've seen it happen over the years with Chelsea, United and so on. United are the one this season again. So as we sit here now, it's a bit of a different perspective. I do agree with you that the squad didn't seem capable of it, but do Tottenham at the moment, do Man United at the moment, do Everton, the West Ham, the Leicester, there's no one really grabbing it by the scruff of the neck. So hopefully Arteta can be the one to do it. We really need to get some additional players in, midfielders ASAP. We're always like the UK weather. We never know. I think that's a good way to segue into some more clips from you guys. Continue getting them in. We're going to have one last segment after this one where me and Dan will wrap up.
Hi, my name is Kiama from Kenya. It's a shame that we were pressed at all angles. The guys were hungry for the game. Just 2 players or 3 players out of the team and we look sloppy, losing the ball, getting pressed, and we don't even expect to win. Get number 4 if we continue this way. We need to sign. If not so, we're not getting number 8.
Hey guys, Simba from Leeds here. And first and foremost, I would like to say congratulations to Nottingham Forest. I thought they wanted it more than we did today. That Spencer kid, the one on the right, my God, what a player he is. Definitely what a baller. He had Martinelli in his pocket today, and Martinelli is someone who I really, really love. But we'll get on to our our team and our performance. First of all, I would like to say from our perspective that Nuno Tavares incident, I thought it wasn't dealt with in a professional way. And notice that I said professional way. I understand that sometimes, players don't follow what the coach want them to do or the manager want them to do, but it's 10 minutes away from the halftime. Why not wait until halftime and, do you know what I mean, and deal with it in that way? Because when we took him off and we put Tierney, it kind of sends a message to the other team that tactically what we're trying to do is not working. So, you know what I mean? So Nottingham Forest were looking at each other think, oh, wow, what we're doing is actually working here. And then to us as players and fans, it puts a negative energy, do you know what I'm saying? That you can see when he came off, he was frustrated, he's throwing his gloves away. We don't want that when you're playing, especially away from home, and you're playing a team that's fired up, that's the underdogs in this game. Everyone is expecting us to win. You don't want to put that negative energy on ourselves. So I think that was the key moment that probably lost us the game. Don't get me wrong, we still have, horrendous players that don't deserve to be wearing the Arsenal top and playing for Arsenal. And I'm not going to name names, we already know who they are. But I think the key moment today was that Nuno Tavares being taken off. And I would just like to ask Don Robbie and Turkish and all you guys at AFTV what you think about the incident. Now that this had happened, I just got a message from one of my friends laughing at me. It's crazy. The abuse I'm going to get this week. Anyway, cheers for having me, guys. Thanks.
We're out of the FA Cup to Nottingham Forest again. They have defeated us in the FA Cup again, and this is the second time that has happened. Disappointed, but on the grand scheme of things, I think it's for the best because the way the Arsenal squad is right now, we are very depleted, not basically by injury, but COVID and players going to the African Cup of Nations. So I feel maybe it might even be a blessing in disguise, to be honest. There's a long way to go. We have a lot of games in January. We have Liverpool. We have Liverpool twice in January. We also have Tottenham in the Premier League. So I feel it's for the best. Probably would have wanted us to go further in the competition, but it is what it is. We can't kill ourselves. We have to move forward. Performance has to improve. Really has to improve. We have Liverpool next on Thursday in the Carabao Cup. Hope to get a positive result there, even though we're going to Anfield. It's a very hard place for us now, as you can see, over the past few years. Then Tottenham in the Premier League. So let's see how it goes. We should just be hopeful the boys can turn up in the next game. That's the main thing. So I feel maybe it's a blessing in disguise. We move at the end of the day. So
hello Arsenal TV. This is Daniel, all the way from Georgia in the US, Atlanta, Georgia. I'm just really, really, really disappointed with our performance today. I can't even call it a performance. We didn't come to play. We didn't even come to play football because there was no urgency from the team. There was no energy. They looked bland. They didn't even know what to do. It made no sense what they were doing. I'll see White's pass to Holding. Holding can't even push up. No one in the middle to receive the ball. It was very lackluster from our team. It was lackluster from Arsenal. And I'm looking at the team. I see a lot of first team players in the team. And I'm wondering, how are we really going to compete? I didn't see it. Against Manchester City, I saw a team ready to compete. Right now, I didn't even see a team ready to compete. And it's a big shame because we're playing Nottingham Forest. This is going to bring a lot of negative energy in the camp that really, really do not need. So I'm really, really disappointed. I don't know. I know it's just an FA Cup tie game, but at the end of the day, it's a competition. It's a trophy. I was looking forward for us to win. So now that's out of the bag. And we just got to look forward, but I'm still really, really disappointed.
Big up AFTV and all Arsenal fans. Really disappointing performance. I mean, their players wanted it more and our players really didn't have the desire to win this game. And I think Arteta dealt very harsh with Tavares. He could have waited another 10 minutes and spoken to him in the halftime break. And I look at it that way, that Cedric Suarez was also shit. Why he didn't get subbed off in the first half? And you know what? It's the same old problem with Arsenal, inconsistency. But I'd be honest with you, a loss against Tottenham or Burnley in the league would be much more disappointing for me. I know it was embarrassing tonight, but for me the most important thing this season is the top four, a Champions League spot, for us to be back in the big four, to make good signings and build on this team. And you know what? We have to put pressure on the club because the Cronkies, they have to invest now. There are at least 10 players available on the market with a good price that can improve our team and make us play even better. And I don't want to wait until the end of the window for them to tell me that, you know what, we couldn't find any players that suits us. Or it's really hard to sign players in January. No, there are players that we can sign right now and improve the squad. So they have to invest.
You could see the pain there, and something, big up everyone that sent their clips in, but something that he said there just resonates with me so much. I bet the chat can tell me what it is. But Kroenke, what I've found difficult over the years is to balance the pressure on Kroenke with maybe the optimistic times that we've gone through. And I say maybe we've gone through. I look at this one as probably the most optimistic of the last few years in terms of our form in December, coming into the new year, being in top four. But if you want Arteta out, if you want Arteta in, if you think he's good enough, if you don't think he's good enough, then I think we should all be in agreement that putting pressure on Kroenke to either support, invest, so we can find out is the best form to do it. But also within the fan base, it seems that people can't distinguish negative energy and understand that I'm fed up with our owners. I'm so fed up that things like this are kind of expected because you still got Holdens and Eddies, and I put that down more to the owner because of a lack of footballing people underneath him. We have to continue putting pressure on Kroenke. What, just because he spent 150 million after bleeding us dry for 10 years, does it mean that we take our foot off the gas? No. Like I said, if you love Arteta, if you think he's the next Arsene Wenger, then put pressure on Kroenke. If you don't like Arteta, if you don't think he's not good enough, then put pressure on Kroenke, because we need to find out these variables around the club. We debate them all the time, whether this player is good enough, whether this structure, whether... how many times do we hear we can't sell players, the market is not great? Excuses. I think we should all be applying pressure on Kroenke. We should all be aligned on that one. We should all be in agreement, regardless whether you think Arteta's good enough and I don't, or vice versa.
Mate, trying to unite this fan base has always been difficult. And I believe it's because there's always a split. Whether or not you loved Mesut Ozil or you hated him, whether you thought Wenger was in or out, whether you believed Stan Kroenke was good enough or not, and whether you believe Mikel Arteta was good or not. Unfortunately, there's never ever a 100%. But the only thing I can say is that I believe, truly, deep down, more people want Stan Kroenke out than Stan Kroenke in. But yet we still can't unite for a long period of time. We did it once against Everton, which was amazing. Yeah, I saw a protest, which I thought was fantastic. The European Super League had a lot to do with that. The following week, we clapped the team bus in, and the week after that, it rained, so no one turned out. So that, to me, is not a protest. It's just a waste, right? Now, I personally feel like at the moment, I'm pointing more fingers at Mikel Arteta because he has been backed more than Unai Emery and even Arsene Wenger in his later years, because they believe in him and they think he is the future and the project. So I think that until the fans make noise, Mikel Arteta is pretty much safe for a very long period of time. But I just ask the fans this: raise the standards at this football club. Don't point the fingers at Liverpool fans and say, is yours gold, and then be happy with 6th. Yeah? Do not make that the same sentence. You cannot take the mick out of Liverpool fans in the last 3 years because they've won a Champions League and a league title, yeah, under a process or a project, and then laugh at them because their trophy isn't gold. What the hell is that all about? Then we're happy with 6th, and people still want this guy in with 8th place for the last 2 years? This is why I've been crying out for the last 2 years to raise the standards by the fan base. It frustrates the hell out of me. Don't laugh and point the fingers at Liverpool, who are an unbelievable football club, by the way, and then say, actually, I think 6th would be a hell of a lot of progress at Arsenal.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense to me, bro.
Set a target and let's stick to
man.
it. The constant changing of goalposts lead to these kind of debates all the time. Kitbag says, Finn squad, other big clubs have 22 big players they spent hundreds of millions on. We have a good spine, but Arteta inherited a poor squad. Keep him till October, November. Well, listen, like I said, I still believe Arteta's not good enough to take us to where I want and have seen Arsenal be before. And that's not just top four, I mean challenging for titles. But at the same time, I think he's done enough this season, being in top four, to say, as a fan, as an owner, as a director of football, make top four this season and your future, remains. I think that's fair in my opinion. Greg says, we were so dreadful on my way to watch. We were so dreadful. I'm on my way to watch AFCON, so I don't think about this awful game. Greg, best thing, man. Move on from it as quick as you can. Someone else here says, wait, where is it? Turkish is too much of a walad to criticise Arteta. And the same person said, real Arsenal fans are Arteta, AFTV has agendas. My guy, sort it out. Because Kroenke, no one has talked about the owner more as a fan, especially on this channel, than me. I've talked about Wenger before, Emery before, and Arteta. I've said I don't think Arteta's good enough. But how do you expect to get to where it seems that you want to get to is the same place I want to get to with owners that have let this happen all the time? It doesn't all fall on Wenger like it did on Emery, like it does on Arteta. That's not me saying I think Arteta is the one, but that's me saying if Arteta goes, we've still got that shit owner making the decision for the next manager, like he did with this current one. Why is this current one in that you don't like? Because of our owner. So sort it out, mate, please. So if things like that really jar me. People can't understand it. But let's get into the last set of clips, people. Love for sending them all in. Obviously, it's one of those days, but we enjoy going through them. So let's run the last set.
Hi guys, it's Alice and
Fraser
from London. Yeah, we watched the performance. It was really disappointing. We were feeling really good after the Man City game and kind of thought we had it in the bag, but it looked like everyone's pretty arrogant and they didn't really turn up to the game. And it's an FA Cup and we were expected better. Fraser, what do you reckon?
To be honest, the worst part is there are so few positives we can take from it. And that's what breaks my heart. Look, it's the FA Cup. It'd be nice to win it, and we need to win it because we have nothing else. It was the fact that we just didn't seem to show up. So let's take it on the chin and hopefully work from here because we have to.
We've got the North London derby.
We've got the North London derby, and let's take it to him. Let's take it to him and put this behind us because it was a fucking shit performance. And I'm not blaming anyone in particular, and I don't think we can because I think everyone has questions to answer. So let's crack on.
What a poorly performance by Arsenal Football Club. I mean, what have the center field did? Nothing. They did nothing to contain. Too many mistakes. Too many given away balls. What blows my mind that Eddie Nketiah, he barely touched the ball maybe 3-4 times the entire game, and the ball that Bukayo Saka centered to him, that he should have, really nailed it, headed into the goal wide open, he missed it. He attacks the ball so poorly, it hits his chest burst and goes out, goes outside. He couldn't even. I believe in a professional. I'm so frustrated, really. I can't even put words together here. I am so frustrated with this team. I'm just sick and tired of having one good performance, okay performance, or superb performance, if you want to name it, and 3 or 4 disgusting poor ones. I'm really sick and tired of that. And that is Mikel Arteta. Mikel Arteta, he is not a coach for Arsenal Football Club. Get the hell out.
What's up, guys? This is Sterling here, NYC Gooner. And let me just start off by saying that I am completely and utterly disappointed by that performance I witnessed today. And I would even label it as disgraceful, and here's why. As Arsenal Football Club, We have a reputation and the legacy to uphold in this tournament. We are the record holders, and that performance out there on that pitch did not reflect us in the light that the past teams have. And it's a reoccurring theme, and I really hope that we break this cycle of falling short in this tournament, because it's disgraceful for the team like us, to be knocked out this early in the competition. And now top 4 is a must. And the Carabao Cup is a must. And we have a big challenge ahead of us against Liverpool. 2 legs. And, with a performance like today, how could we expect to win?
Oh, no. Like, come on, Arsenal, man. Those are games we should be winning, man. Huh? How'd you lose, man, to a team that doesn't even exist in FIFA, man? Huh? We are supposed to slap those man. Slap them. Them were there. Yeah? But what we do, man, no show on target first half, man. We got the ball in our area, man, but we don't produce results, man. And results is what counts at the end of the day. Shout out Arteta, man. Maintaining composure and everything. But, man, we were supposed to slap them, man. FA Cup. Carabao Cup, man. These are things we're supposed to be winning, man. Look at us, man. Anyway, man, shout out to AFTV, man. Shout out Don Robbie. And Arsenal, disappointed for the night, man. Disappointed, man.
Hello, Arsenal Fan TV. It's your boy, Mohammed. Now I know why I'm bolding. Now I know about it, because I support this team. Everything today was boring. Team performance, boring. Team kit, boring. Team tactic, boring. Bruv, I don't even know which player will join Arsenal after this performance. Seriously, bro. Who? Maybe we might get Yakubu from retirement. Or Yaya Sanogo. They might come. They might say, alright, we do a job for Arsenal. Anyway, man. I love Arsenal Fan TV. And today's performance, boring.
Someone's bored.
I'm bored in as well.
Bored and bored.
The only thing I liked about today was the campaign.
Come on.
The drop the red. Well done to Arsenal for that. Great initiative, anti-knife crime, something that me and you know a lot about.
London knows a lot about it.
Streets of London, we've had too many youngsters get killed. So that was a great initiative, but fantastic by Arsenal. That's where it ends.
They didn't do the cause
I'm
justice.
really hurting. I'm really hurting about that. I'm really, you know what it is. With me, Turkish, yeah. I look at that and I say, when it comes to the FA Cup, and you go away from home, this is the cup final for those teams.
Yeah.
Nottingham Forest probably know that they're not going to win the FA Cup. But for every one of their fans going there today, this is their biggest game of the season.
This is their moment.
This is their moment. They may not get into the Premier League. This is their big moment. Even though they're having a good season, they've got a good manager. And they played like that.
Yeah.
But what the attitude of our players today was just like, it was just a casual, we had a great game against City, we've been playing well. Nottingham Forest, it's almost like they didn't know what to expect.
Since you
now,
said the
you know
word
what,
post.
I could look at Charlie Patino and I could say he might not know what to expect because this is a debut.
First game, yeah.
I could even look at Sambi Lokonga and say he may not know what to expect because he's a new player to the league. I can look at even Nuno Tavares, who got hauled off after 30 minutes, and say to himself, you know what, he might not know what to expect. He's never played an FA Cup game before, and he's thinking to himself, you know what, Nottingham Forest should be light work and his attitude's all wrong, and that's why he got hauled off. But they don't know. But the other experienced players like Cedric, who was horrible on that goal that we conceded, Rob Holding,
even White, he's been lower league.
Ben White was poor today. Eddie Nketiah, even though he's a young player, he's a very experienced player. I look at them and I'm like, what was that? What was that? Eddie Nketiah, I like young player. After he scored his hat-trick in the last game at Sunderland.
Put the phone down, Arsenal now. Put that phone down and sell Eddie out of this.
But remember what he said. He said, they asked him in an interview afterwards, and I found this a little It's a little disturbing to me at the time. I remember speaking to a couple of the guys about it. I found it a bit disturbing at the time because they asked him about, are you going to be staying? And he sort of said, oh, well, everybody knows my stance. You know, how my stance is. I want to play. I want to play week in, week out, and I want to play. That's fair enough. But you're an Arsenal Football Club. Why don't you earn the right to play week in, week out at Arsenal? Because if you come on and you score today, if you score that easy header that you got, if you score some of those chances that you should have took in some of the games that you figured,
Everton,
you might be playing because the manager obviously likes you. The manager says in training you work hard. But this thing about, I want to play, where are you going to play in the Premier League? I said it to you guys before. I've looked at all the teams in the Premier League and I can't see which team he'd start in. He wouldn't start at Brighton in front of Mopé or Welbeck. He wouldn't start in front of Pukki at Norwich. He wouldn't start in front of Callum Wilson at Norwich. He wouldn't start in front of Calvert-Lewin at Everton. He wouldn't start in front of Ivan Toney at Brentford. He wouldn't start in front of Emmanuel Dennis at Watford. What team is he going to go and start in?
Southampton might be his best bet because they just got rid of Ings, but Armstrong is in there, innit?
There's Armstrong, there's Evans, or Adams, Che Adams.
Oh, that's it, Che Adams,
right? He wouldn't start.
Yeah.
He would be in the team and he'd be a backup to them as well. So you're a backup at the moment in Arsenal. Why not earn your right to start? And the way to do that is to come in and be more clinical. There was 2 occasions today, and I'm not singling him out, only him, because everyone was poor. The only people I think that weren't poor was Charlie Patino. I thought he did all right, and Leno. That's it. Everyone else was poor.
Yeah.
Saka was, but by his high standards, he was poor. He had a chance where he's running for on goal, indecisive stop. They caught up with him, took the ball off him. He had the header.
Yeah.
We've had no shots on target, and you're the striker. So, before saying all these things, earn the right. You're an Arsenal Football Club. Earn the right to play week in, week out, to start week in, week out. You've got a chance right now. Aubameyang's out the team. Lacazette is coming towards the end of his contract.
You're the young one.
You know, you're the guy there. You've got it. But if you produce it, and you haven't produced it. So, to me, you know, things like that, and I just didn't like the attitude of the players today. I just felt that it's almost like they didn't know what was coming.
Yeah.
They didn't know what was coming. It's a cup tie. It's the FA Cup. And now for me, from now till the end of the season, play the strongest team. On Thursday, because remember, all we've got is a possibility of 20. Maximum 3 games in the Carabao Cup. Yeah. If we get to the final.
Yeah. And 18 in the league.
And the 18 games that are left. So don't rest no one.
Yeah.
The only way any of them men that I saw today get a place in the team is if someone's injured.
Yeah.
Yeah? You play your strongest team right. Thursday night, strongest team. Sunday, strongest team. Next week, Thursday, strongest team. Followed up by after that, because we're going to have loads of weeks off. All them FA Cup weekends, we're off.
There's winter break into this month. So after Liverpool, Tottenham, Liverpool, Burnley, we get 2-week break.
Yeah. Because we've got no FA Cup, we've got no Europe. Every week, Mikel Arteta just play his strongest team. All of them, man, they'll be moaning and saying, oh, we're going to start. And even move them on in January or say to them, well, yeah, listen, you lot, you've had your chance. You haven't earned it. I'll call upon you if there's injuries. Otherwise, someone like Gabriel, you start every single game from now till the end of the season.
Yeah.
You're not going to burn out. There's a maximum of 21.
In 4 months.
Because I've had it with these guys coming in and with these poor performances.
Yeah.
I don't blame Mikel Arteta. I heard just you and Dan talking about Mikel Arteta. I find it hard to blame him today. I find it hard to blame him because you could see even he was upset with it. He took off Nuno Tavares
early.
And you could see he wouldn't have expected that. And normally I say to myself, no, the manager's still got to get a blame because you put the team out. But you know what? If he could have brought in other players, he would have done. That's all he's got left. And he's given them man their chance today, and they have let him down. And they've let down every one of those Arsenal fans. You know, look how many fans there were behind that goal.
Yep. Lee got his ticket just last minute yesterday, and he turned to me and he was excited. He was like, I got my ticket for yesterday. I'm like, well, good luck, mate.
I wouldn't want to be talking to him right now, I'll tell you that.
Nah, you know what Lee's about after these
Shocking,
types
man, shocking. I'm disappointed, man. It's the FA Cup. It's a competition that every Arsenal fan holds dear to their heart. You know what I mean? We've won it more times than any other team in English football. Have some pride. The last 2 seasons we've gone out in the 3rd round. That used to be something that was unheard of, going out in the 3rd round. Unheard of. First week in January, we're not involved in the FA Cup.
We used to play our B team and get through the first couple rounds back in the day. Nah, you know, it's all mad, lower league opposition or not.
It's not good enough.
Before we wrap up, on that young player thing, do you think it's a sense of entitlement that might come something from... Look, us fans love a young player and we support the young players. But over the years, you know, we've seen Eddie Nketiah now, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, I don't want to be right back. Joe Willock, you know, he wanted more game time. Or Joe Willock is a prime example. He's gone for more game time and, you know, he's opened himself for a heap of criticism because he hasn't performed. Maitland-Niles has just gone to Roma. Apparently he started right back for them. But you've moaned about right back before for us. Eddie Nketiah, you're not starting here. Well, Championship or lower league is for you next. Are you going to be happy there? Do you think it's a sense of entitlement, or they're looking at young players starting thinking, that should be me?
No. I look on it and I say, you're at Arsenal Football Club and you've broken into the first team. Earn your right to start every week. Let's be real. I like Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Did he earn the right to start every week? No. A little bit unlucky because we never really knew what his right position was. Was it midfield? Was it... But you didn't earn your right to start. Eddie Nketiah, you've had games in the first team. Aubameyang's out of favour right now. He doesn't even figure. Yeah? You've earned a right to be in the... You're in the first team. You're the guy knocking on the door. And the manager said, all right, you're doing well in training. In you go. You miss chance. You miss chance. You miss chance. How are you supposed to start?
No substance.
Earn your chance. Emil Smith-Rowe earned his chance.
Yeah, 100% Saka.
Saka earned his chance. Martinelli earned it. When we signed Martinelli, I remember at the time when I was doing Transfer Daily, they said that they're signing him and he's going to go into the under-23s. He wasn't signed to start at Arsenal. He was signed, remember he came from 2nd division in Brazil. He works his socks off, right? And then when he got his chance, he earned his right to start. I agree with you. The players making excuses now. Oh, I want to play every week. Where is he going to play every week?
Yeah.
Well, in the Championship.
Remember Walcott? I want to be striker. We paid him striker for 3 games. We give him a new contract, then bought him back to right
you know what I mean? You know what I mean? You've got to look at yourself sometimes. Is it that you're not getting a chance? Or is it that when you've had the chances, you haven't taken them?
Yeah.
Great chance for him today. He got that, you know, hat-trick against Sunderland, a League One side, right? But then when you've come in the league, at Everton...
That chance. He could have had a new contract off the back of that if you put that in.
Then today now, Aubameyang's been frozen out, he's away anyway. No Pepe, no, all of those guys are missing.
Yeah.
Spotlight is on you. Lacazette, rest up, we need you for Thursday. Spotlight's on you. What do? And then you're going to moan about starting. Do you deserve... Eddie... And I'm sorry, I don't want to be focusing on one man, but Eddie, when you go and you sit down at home and you think to yourself, honestly, did you earn the right to start on Thursday against Liverpool? No, you haven't. Let's be real.
Has he earned a new contract? No, you haven't.
No, he hasn't earned a new contract. But he wants to go. What I'm saying is, Arsenal want to give him a new contract. Yeah. He wants to leave. He said,
which is the mad...
as I said in the interview, he said, I want to leave because I want to play. And I'm like, well, play where?
Yeah, play where?
When I say there's many places you can go and play, but where is Eddie Nketiah right now? For me personally, where is Eddie Nketiah going to start?
Yeah, after today.
And then I think that's what annoys me with some of these players, because I'm looking at it and saying, you haven't earned the right to start. So don't be moaning and saying, oh, I need to go because I'm not starting. You're getting opportunities at Arsenal. You're on the fringes. You've got a chance to break through. But you know at a big club, when you get your chance, you've got to take it. Exactly. And he hasn't taken it.
What other big side in the Premier League has brought through as many youngsters as we have in the past couple of years into our first team? I know Chelsea do it with loans, but into the first team, Arsenal have done it in abundance. So they should be looking at that.
If you're at any big club, it's going to be the same.
Yeah.
You know, go and ask them players. Yeah, go and ask them players like Hudson-Odoi and people like that.
Greenwood can't get a game at United.
Greenwood can't start.
You know, Foden had to wait years to start getting game time. All these clubs have good young players, but they don't give as many chances to young players as Arsenal do. And I feel it's a sense of entitlement / jealousy. I think they look at Saka and Martinelli and...
But they've earned it.
Yeah, but they're
earned
not
it.
looking at it like that.
Earned it. Smith Rowe went away on loan, was grafted at Huddersfield, did brilliantly, came back, earned the position. He earned it. He's not been handed it. It's not been no favouritism. He earned it. Like Arsenal look at him and say, yo, this guy's so good. You know what? We don't even have to go and spend the money now. We got a quality player. He's earned it. Then he's going to earn an England. He's earned everything. Nothing's been given to him. Saka earned it. He came in, he played right back. He's earned his position. He played left back, right back. Everywhere. He played midfield. He played everywhere. He earned his thing. You're coming in as a striker. Every time you come in, you barely score.
Yep.
When you come in the senior games, how can you say that you should be starting for Arsenal?
Entitlement. That's what it is, Rob. I'm telling you. They look around and they think, oh, that should be me.
And after today, strongest team from now till the end of the season. Don't need to rest players. We don't need to rest players for Europe. We don't need to rest players for the FA Cup. Strongest 11 from now till the end of the season. Whoever's upset, be upset. We'll call upon you if there's injuries.
Yeah.
Make sure you train and be ready.
That's fair.
If an injury's on, but apart from that, you ain't playing.
Because what is it? March, April, May, 3 months left. Come the end of January with the winter break, we would have played 4. That leaves us with 16 games in 3 months.
I wonder what he does for the transfer window now as well. You know, I was thinking because...
It's made it bigger.
Has it made it bigger or has it made it less urgent? Because there can be less games. You go and bring in 3-4 players on loan, they might not play a game.
What worries me is that obviously Edu, when asked about targets at the beginning, didn't come out right and say it. But in my honest opinion, I said it. Now we ain't in the FA Cup, make top 4. To make top 4,
I think we're going to need a player. I think to make top 4, we need a midfield. We saw it today. We were so short in the midfield area. You know, I think Sambi Lokonga is an up-and-coming player, but he's not there yet. He's still learning his trade. Mm-hmm. You know, all right, there was a lot of midfielders missing today. There was no Xhaka. You know, El Neni's away. We know Partey's away. That's what I'm saying now. In my head, I'm thinking, Turkish, does that make them think to themselves, Because if you go and get a midfielder, say you went out and got a Bruno Guimaraes, as someone told me to pronounce it, 35 million, but then AFCON finishes, you've got Partey back, Bruno Guimaraes, Xhaka, Sambi Lokonga, and El Neni, that's 5. And all of a sudden you only got 1 game a week. So maybe they might look at it and say, well, is it as urgent now because we've got less games? I don't know.
More for them, because what we saw from Holden and Eddie today, which is similar to what we've seen in the past, we will see the same from Xhaka, who I put in that same basket. You continue playing a guy that's let us down many times over the years, he's going to continue to let us down.
You know the other thing I saw today, what I learnt today, is that we can get top 4. I think Arsenal's team is good enough to get top 4, only if those main players that are playing in starting 11 stay fit. If Tomiyasu's out, if Tomiyasu's out,
forget it.
And we've got to put Cedric in against Tottenham next week, I'm a worried man.
Yeah.
If Gabriel's out and Rob Holding's got to come in for any length of time against any of them top teams, I'm a worried man.
Yep.
Yeah.
All over the park.
If Tierney's out, I'm little less worried because Nuno did fill in better in the thing, but you know, if Sambi Lokonga has to come in for any length of time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If there's an injury to Lacazette and it's Eddie, that's what I said the other day. I said to me, with the Aubameyang situation, either we move him on, which is going to be a really, really difficult thing to do, we try and get him what we can get him money-wise and try and get a top striker in January, which is going to be really difficult. Or we have to go and sit down with him and try and mend whatever's gone on and say to him, listen, give us till the end let's fight through now till the end of the season because he's better than Eddie.
And I think Oba cares about his reputation with the fans as well. He talked about wanting to be the next Thierry, so maybe that is something that could be worked out.
Because I just look on it, there's certain positions. that we would be lighting.
Already.
Right? We will be lighting. So to me, that's why I said that's the 11 starts every game.
Yeah.
Starts.
Hey, listen.
No changes, man. No resting players, nothing.
No,
they ain't got loads of games to play now.
FA Cup.
Every week, start.
And that's it. Thanks, Rob. Sorry, people. There was a couple super chats, but the iPad has died, so I can't. And my phone has died as well.
Let me see if I can just get
Let's
them
see if Robbie can get them up. Greg, I remember your one off the top. You said, what manager would I take? You'd take the Juventus manager. I'm not going to entertain the conversation yet. If you asked me in November, I would have said Conte, because Conte speaks for himself, his reputation, obviously what he's doing at Tottenham now. Don't quote me on it. That's him. But now I don't see an out-and-out target. Maybe come summer. Like I said, top 4 is vital now. If we make top 4, I don't think we need to think too much about a manager in the summer, because he's done what he should be doing. If we don't make top 4, then ask me then.
I think manager-wise, as I said, you've got to give the manager now till the end of the season.
I think so.
100%.
You missed out on Conte already.
Remember, so I'm trying to catch a couple of them. Remember, we have Saliba on loan, says Greg Livingstone. Please explain Odegaard's role. 0 creation from him. He had a shockingly poor game today. He was just running around.
Didn't know he was on the pitch.
Was there any more?
No, obviously Greg's one was the other one.
Was it? I can't see it.
Yours is only going up. No, I got Greg's one in the manager question.
And Michael Daly says, yes, I agree with you, Robbie. Play the strongest team. Silly Billy Killy says, you can't blame him for wanting to move. He could sit on our bench and get 60 to 70 grand a week. No, but listen, I'm saying, I'm not on about money now. I'm on about as Eddie Nketiah, and as I said, I like the kid. But as Eddie Nketiah earned the right to start for Arsenal. It's not about money. You can take the easy option and say, right, I need to move and go somewhere where I can start, but you won't be starting at Arsenal. And you won't be starting at a team of the calibre of Arsenal. And what I'm saying is you're at a huge club right now with the chance to start.
Yeah.
So what's the
most of it?
Make the most of that. Start at Arsenal.
Might show his ambition.
And as I said, Mikel Arteta has said many a time, I like the kid, he trains well, and we all play him. But every time he's had the opportunity, he's flattered to deceive. So that's not Arteta's fault. That's not my fault, your fault, anyone's fault. He has to do better. And has he earned the right? Mukil says, the problem, Robbie, is that Nketiah is rolling straight into the starting 11 by himself. I don't take that as an excuse either, because he's played quite a few games this season and he's just not done. How many goals in the Premier League has he scored?
Bro, he's got a header in the 6-yard box. I don't care if you just come on or you haven't played in 2 years. You shouldn't be nosing that wide.
And this is this is the reality of football, yeah? When you get those chances as a young player, you're emerging. It's a harsh, horrible, hard reality. But it's particularly when you're a striker, you got to take them chances.
Yeah.
If you don't, you won't play.
Yep.
It's as simple as that. You could come in, Eddie could come in and say, play 3-4 games and score a goal in every one of those games, and everybody will say, yo, start Eddie. Last 4 games, he scored 4 goals, play him. That's how you burst in when you're a striker, because a striker's job is to score goals. So you can't just say, oh yeah, but because he hasn't played. Nah, you've got to seize it.
You can attach these moments to miss. Like, look, remember Olympiacos? Was it 2 years ago when we got knocked out? Yeah. Everyone remembers the Oba miss.
Yeah.
Even though he scored 25 a year for us, everyone remembers that miss because going out, that cost us. Same way today, Everton, Eddie hit the post, 6-yard box.
You're a striker. It's not like when you're a goalkeeper. If you're a goalkeeper and then you get 2 games for Arsenal and you let in 2 easy goals, I'm sorry. The harsh reality of it, you might have been brilliant in training, but we remember those 2 easy goals we let in, and people say you're not ready. Same with a striker. You get an easy chance like today, even though we're playing poorly, you got to bury it. If you bury it now, man will be... Eddie scored that goal today, man would be saying, yeah, Eddie should start. On Thursday, start Eddie.
Yeah, protect.
He scored a hat-trick, he scored a hat-trick, he scored everything. Yeah, exactly, but he didn't. That is the harsh reality of football when you're playing at the highest level, is that you're scrutinised at a club like Arsenal.
The moments make you, not the overall picture.
So is what it is, man. You know what I mean? And you can't just say easy way out. Oh, I'm not getting game time. Let me go and play somewhere else.
Yeah, like it's not your fault. You know, you've got to take some of that ownership.
You know, I saw him linked with even like, say, Leverkusen, but he's going to get in front of Patrick Schick. Yeah.
Oh,
so
let him go fight somewhere else.
Yeah.
And let us sort out our situation. Rob, thanks for joining me. Dan Potts, thanks for joining me. And I think that was it for
Big
today.
up, Dan.
Love to every single one of you that has sent in a video. I know it's one of those days. We've had these days before deflating, but you lot have still engaged. Hope you guys have enjoyed Full-Time Reaction. There's a lot of good content coming out this week. We've got another super fan debate with the Liverpool and Arsenal fans. I'm in that. James Redmond, you enjoyed the first one. Let's hope the game goes ahead on Thursday and there's no more false positives, Jurgen.
Listen, if I was saying, right, they, had the game have been, say we played what we played today.
Yeah.
If we'd have played that last week Sunday, they wouldn't have cancelled that game.
No.
Even if they had 10 positives.
No. They would have been drooling at the tie.
And they're drooling now.
Yeah, listen, you just have to look at that performance to know why. But people, hit the like button on your way out and look out for some more content. The fan cams are coming out. Mine's out already. Player ratings will be out tomorrow early time. But in between that, fan cams, and up until Thursday, a lot of Liverpool stuff coming out too. Love for the love as always, people. See you again tomorrow. Peace.